Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video I will explain what is C++, how we use the C++, what was its invention, and how to write the code in C++, and what's the difference between C and C++. So moving forward, what is C++? C++ is one of the most flexible and efficient general purpose programming language, which is a superset of C language where most tools and library support in C could be used in C++ as well. So basically it's an extension of C language. The keywords that was used in C language is also used in C++ in the standard library files. C++ is a cross-platform language that can be used as a great high-performance application. As I said, C plus plus is an extension of C plus plus, so it's a very high performance application. C plus plus was developed by Stroudstrop as an extension to the C language. C plus plus gives programmers a high level of control over system resource and memory. What are the characteristics of C++? An object is entity on which we talk about would create programs using it. An entity in real life, such as a table, board, duster, etc., could be an object. The second feature is the class, which is a group of objects. First is the entity. Second is the class. Classes consist of all functions and variables in a program. Basically, we will summarize our the functions into the class. We will create a class for all of these functions and variables. Encapsulation is also used in OOP, object oriented programming. Internally hides the operation of a function. Basically, if we want to hide the function, we will encapsulate it. For example, when we ride a bike, we press the acceleration but doesn't know what's happening behind the scenes or how the engine is working because it is hidden from us. We are just concerned with its working. We are not concerned with its mechanism, what's going, what's handling is in the uh, back end, what is going on. We're just concerned with the its working. In layman terms, it wraps the data into the class, and hence only function is allowed to access the data which we are allowed to see. Inheritance, one another is this is also the terms used in the OOP. So inheritance gives the class the ability to use the features property of its parent class. For example, we have developed a parent class. It has its child nodes. It has its child. So the inheritance, basically, if we look to the concept of inheritance, we obtain some characteristics from our parents that is inherited. So same is the case in C++. We will give some functions to the parent class, and the child class will inherit the same features from its parent. The inherited class could be public, private, protected as well. New features could be added to the child class as well. The inheritance could be single level, multi-level, and even hierarchical. The next concept is polymorphism. Is a property in which one entity could have multiple forms, which allow the object to behave differently in different situations. Poly means many. So as the name suggests, if this is a property in which an entity, if an object, it has multiple features of which can be acted in differently in a different situation. Could be static as well as dynamic. Static means at rest, and dynamic is running state. Okay? At runtime, objects could communicate among each other by sending data to and from with the help of message passing interface. A runtime, when we compile our data, that is known as runtime. So objects will communicate among each other by sending data. For example, if we have uh, 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 written sum is equals to a plus b, and we have identified the function below, and we have inherit we have given the values up. So it will the function will communicate to the values which values should be added. So that this is the line meaning. It says that at runtime the objects communicate with each other, so that the runtime becomes easy. What are the applications of C++? C++ is widely used in gaming industry. Its code, it is used to write the codes, even our basic applications, Instagram, WhatsApp. It has a proper detailed coding behind it. So it is the knowledge of C++ to build interactive games for them. Basically, C++ is used for the gaming purpose. In software like Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, C++ is used as well. We can use C++ to create web browsers like Mozilla Firefox and compilers. Another high-level language is HTML hypertext markup language. That is also its syntax is almost same. Not same, but it's working basically. So its software is also same. Like we can run it on the notepad. We have to basically learn all the coding. We have to summarize, we have to encapsulate in our mind the basic features of the keywords of the C++ languages, so that we will able to develop the gaming and the this other multiple applications. We can use C++ to create web browsers. As I've said, the operating system are also programmed in C++. Windows is an operating system, so behind it it's also having a code, so it is also developed in C++. As you can see, C++ is used widely. It has widely applications of C++. We are using different games, we are using and in even YouTube is having its coding in C++, and whenever the upgrade happens, we will upgrade its code, and then that upgrade will be introduced to the people. The medical industry use C++ to build more of their software. In sense, for if we want to have an if we want to have a medical checkup, so it will identify when a patient should be called, and we will set the ranges for the patient's blood level, and the computer will tell us, the coding will tell us that this, and we will set the condition, and the coding will tell us that this blood level is less than the certain condition. Few of other programming languages like Java are built using the C++ language. So C++ is the basic of all other high level programming languages. What are the advantages of C++? C++ is very efficient among and very fast, reliable. C++ has a wide range of uses, and hence learning the language makes it easier to grasp subject oriented programming concepts. If we know the C++ language, we can have grip over the multiple programming languages, that would be Java, Python, because the syntax, because the main idea, main logic remain the same. Just there's a difference between some syntaxes and some other hints. C++ makes it easier to learn the programming language as well. Whenever the computer engineering student comes, or whatever IT students come, they are introduced with the C++ language, because it is the brain of all other languages, you can say. If you have the grip over C++ language, you will be able to use any, you will be able to learn any other language very easily. What are the disadvantages of C++? C++ could often be hard to master. As I've said, if you master, hard to master in sense, there a lot of people could not make the logic. They are not interested in making the logic. But if your logic, if your problem solving technique, if you're a good problem solver, you are a good programmer. The error messages in C++ could be extended and often difficult to debug. Debug means to remove, to locate and to remove errors. So error messages in C++ couldn't be extended and often difficult to debug. At the runtime error, there's it is difficult to debug the messages. A type of errors, we have runtime, we have execution error, we have syntax error. So three types of errors they are, and sometimes it's difficult to locate the errors. It could be difficult to access the libraries in C++. Even may the libraries is the std the standard library, input output library. Sometimes we while writing the program, we the program the code is difficult, faces difficult to access the libraries. The code could be prone to errors as C++ doesn't provide type checking. What are the components of C++? First component is hashtag include iostream. This is a link library file. Whatever code we have written, it will link in it. It will the code will point to this, and we'll see what is the meaning what we have written, and then we'll translate it. Second component is the int main, as it was discussed in C language. This is also the statement which masters program function is pre prerequisite of every C++ language to have main function at the beginning of the execution. Then the third component is the declaration of variable. For example, if you want to add two numbers, you will first declare the value I I as an int type integer. You will declare it that you want to store the result in this variable. So you have to declare it. Fourth command, you have two options, whether you just simply declare int I or whether you assign to the value at the time of initialization. You can initialize as well at the time of declaration. I is equals to 5. It needs to support C++ inbuilt data types. Fourth component is the comments. The program string is another in case for the loop is used to copy variable from one variable to another. Comments are also included in the program. For comments we use this two slash sign. Whatever it is written after this, the compiler will simply ignore it. It is for our own convenience. We write the comment for the programmer, so have the basic knowledge which code is starting from where. Fifth complement is the operators are another component in C++. Operator is plus operator, modulus operator, multiplication operator, and variety of operators. So this uh, variety of operators. So here I have written the first program. This is hashtag include IOStream. This was the basic its syntax. In main, the program is starting. We have written C out. In the C language, it was printf, but in C++, we have written C out. Whatever we have written in this after this greater sign will be displayed on the output screen, and at the end return 0 and the bracket is closed. If we run and compile, this is the compiler for the C++. I'm using DevFree C++. There's Visual Studio also for the C compiler. As I have said, the different applications also made through this coding language. I will compile and run. You can see it's compiling and running, and it will display the message whether you want to save your file or not. I have already saved it with the name C language, and here you can say it has already run, and it will display the output as hello world. You can see over here. So coming to the difference between C and C++ language, as you know, both are the programming languages, but there is not more, just a small amount of difference in C++ language. First, introduction, it was developed in 1969 and C++ was in 1979. As mentioned before, C is a procedural language, but C++ is the object-oriented programming language. Um as C does not support the object-oriented program concept, so it has to support polymorphism, encapsulation, and inheritance. All these concepts have been discussed previously. In C++, it does not support, but in C++, it is supporting these type of concepts, encapsulation, inheritance. It is being object-oriented programming language. Next is data security. As C does not support encapsulation, so data behave as free entity that can be manipulated outside the code, so there is no data security. But in C++, on the other hand, encapsulation hides the data from the unauthorized access. Structures and operators are used as intended. The fifth is driven type. C in general known as a function driven language, but on the other hand is known an object driven language. Okay. Then feature supported. C does not support functions and other operators overloading as do not have the namespace features and reference variable. As I've discussed nameset, it does not allow the namespacing. But on the other hand, C++ support both functions operator overloading, also have namespace features and reference in the variable functionality. So most preferably C++ is the most preferred language among them.